All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being this episode of the show. Big Q representing the mighty Who Dat Nation. Shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show for all your prop bets. Check out FanDuel. Check them out for all your prop bets. In this episode, man, we're going to talk about the Saints taking a look at a couple of interesting prospects. These guys are seen mostly as later or day three prospects, but nonetheless, the Saints looking to kind of build up in the back of the draft, man, and add to their draft board. Let's take a look at it. 2026 NFL Draft, Saints showing interest in Memphis offensive lineman Chris. Now, Adams is an interesting prospect, to be honest with you, for the Saints to be taking a look at. Of course, we know the black and gold is definitely interested in improving depth along its offensive line. It's a big point of emphasis that they have to do, looking at what we see here. It just makes sense. The Saints have done their due diligence per usual, as seen at the vast majority of notable players, as well as less than expected ones in previous weeks. A name that has popped up on the interest list, including the offensive tackle from Memphis, Chris Adams, who has split all of his collegiate playing time between two tackle spots. Now, he coming off a very difficult 2025 season in which he played over 800 reps at the left tackle spot, blindside tackle. He did allow 9 sacks and 27 pressures, while he also picked up 8 penalties to his name. Despite the penalties still being an issue in 24, he was more productive in pass protection, not allowing a sack and only giving up 19 pressures and over 900 snaps at that position. In 4th season, he posted over 2,400 snaps at the left tackle, over 300 at the right tackle, having relatively similar production at both spots, with the 26 career penalties and over 2,700 blocking snaps. He's relatively a high count there, but he has less or a lot of physical traits to make it work at the next level. Measuring at 6'4", over 300 pounds, and he's a interesting looking player, but unfortunately his athleticism dropped significantly in 2025 as he went from 277 pounds entering the season to 311. So it will be something to teams to figure out to find an optimal playing weight for his long-term future. He has a solid upside as a blocker, but we'll just need to find out his footing. Shout out to Saints Wire for giving us a little scoop on this particular player. We'll delve into it and look into it from the NFL card. And this is Chris Adams right here. You can see from the card right here from Memphis, his college right there from Maryland. He is from there. You can see the grade at 5.67 is a candidate for the bottom of the roster or practice squad spot. It's a developmental player. Right, so Saints take a look at him. Experienced left tackle, missing the length and foot quickness to stay outside on the next level. Carries girthy lowers with good leg drive, adequate hand usage in the running game. A lack of body control creates inconsistency in fitting blocks, but when he's in, he can get some work done. Has pass protection and major holes with his below average anchor and mirror quickness. Adams could find his way into a camp, but faces a steep climb to make a squad. So you can see 39 games in 4 seasons. These are some of the goods and bads. Uses independent hands and pass protection. Firm pass punch when he times it. Good leg drive. Resets hands to establish control in the running attack. Climbs up to linebacker with good control. But his weaknesses: gave up an avalanche of sacks in 2025. Will struggle to anchor against the bull rushers and outside guys. Slow to activate feet. Slow feet. Drops eyes and leads with helmet into first contact. Sloppy footwork leads to inconsistency. So as you can see, I ain't going to read all of it almost, but what it is he's obviously a player Saints are doing a little work on. They seem interested in what he can do and what he can be for the team. But I just feel like this is more than likely a developmental prospect. I was looking, as you can see, a tape at this player, and basically he is a guy that most project as a day 3 prospect, at the offensive tackle position. He is ranked at, I think Draft Tech has him ranked number 22 of all the offensive tackles. CBS has him ranked at number 5th overall in early boards. Then he kind of went to 134. So he kind of fell off, and Draft Tech ranked him 261 overall as a number 3 prospect in the AAC conference. He projects, as most analysts see him, as a 6 or 7 round selection or a high priority undrafted free agent. So He has potential as a swing tackle, has the physical traits, and some actually believe that a move to kick him inside at guard could work for him because of the slow footedness. So that'll be interesting. But 6'5", 300 plus, a lot of play at the left tackle, right tackle position. But he did show that he had elite pass protection in 2024. He didn't allow any sacks that year. So there is some interest there. So the Saints see as some upside that they could perhaps kick this guy, into guard, or maybe something like that, or maybe they feel like they can work with him to kind of help him develop to something greater, right? Just an idea. But this is what you do if you're the Saints. You take a look at how or which some of these developmental players can help you. All right, let's move to the next one, man. Also from Saints Wire, Saints have also had a meeting with a defensive tackle, Tyler Onyedim. I hope I'm saying that right, Tyler O. Over the course of the next few weeks, Saints are set to meet with a list of prospects ahead of the upcoming draft. With Kellen Moore taking over as the head coach last season, he now has a year into his process completed, giving him a good idea of what he needs. A name that appeared recently in Texas A&M defensive lineman Tyler Onyedim was reported by Tony Pauline of Essentially Sports at the time that Onyedim in the 40 at 492 after not running at the combine, and he looked sharp in the drills, which were run by New England Patriots. Onyedim is drawing comparisons to Baltimore Ravens defensive tackle Nnamdi Tyler, Texas A&M alum. He met with the Patriots, Dallas, and Jets on Thursday and sat exclusively with New Orleans after the pro day workout. Saints showing interest in some of these tackles, right? Now, a word extensively utilized in this context may be worth noting for future reference, as it was not mentioned for any other teams here and clearly indicates some level of difference between the other franchises. Onyedim is very promising defensive line prospect, predominantly lining up at the interior, specifically over the B gap. In 2025, he put over 400 reps on the interior, and 369 of which were over the B gap, having also spent time lining up over the tackle in 24 and 23 as well. Now, last year he posted 31 tackles, 17 pressures, 2 sacks, 27 defensive stops, and forced a fumble while not picking up any penalties in that time span either. So, interesting prospect. It'll be interesting to see where the Saints rank this guy on their board. So, Tyler Onyedim is also, let me pull up his card so you guys can see Tyler Onyedim's card right here. And it shows that they list him as 6'2", and mentions him as eventually he'll be a starter. 6'3.5", almost 300 pounds. Texas A&M, another school. The Saints, take a look at. It shows a lot here. A lot of 5 years playing in college game. A lot of Ohio State production. Last year with Texas A&M after the transfer, 13 games, 12 starts, 48 tackles, 8.5 for loss, 2.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. But you can see some of his previous stats right here. In 2023 at Ohio State, honorable mention, all Big 12 conference, started 13 games, 42 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. He's an active big. But, this is what Lance Zierlein had to say about him in a scouting report. 5th-year senior who transferred to Texas A&M from Iowa State and made an immediate impact. Onyedim is an impressive athlete with an explosive first step and long arms. He beats blockers into the gaps, uses active hands, feet to bypass them, making tackles in tight quarters. Down the line, he completes at the point with a stiff punch and powerful upper half to stall out the blocks. He can set the edge, but lacks the lower body mass to be able to be static defender inside. His pass rush is behind his run defense, but the tools and flashes are promising. Onyedim is a future starter with the athleticism and scheme versatility to play a 3 technique or an odd front end. Impressive athlete, good arm length, plus he's strong, versatility to play the 3 technique or the odd man front, explosive first step. Can work quickly around blocks and press and separate to set the edge, twitchy upper half to shed blocks, rangy to chase and make tackles down the line and open field tackles. Lateral quickness, agility is built for twists. Spin counters come naturally with his bull rush. His weakness is he lacks typical lower body mass for interior scraps. Has to fight harder to hold off downhill run blocking schemes, can be displaced vertically by stronger zone blockers, hasn't incorporated much to set up his pass rush, and needs better handwork and early counters to open rush lanes. This is a very promising defensive tackle. that the Saints are looking at. This is a later round player ultimately that when you take a look at him, a lot of people believe that he's one of these players that ultimately will go in the lesser, remaining portions of the draft. Some see him as a third day selection as well. But you're looking at the tape on him right now. Some see him as a 5th to 7th round selection, between the 5th and the 7th round. Some people might see him in the back of the 4th round. But it all depends on what your scouts are, not really scouts, but your talent, your coaches, your assistants, what they can be able to get from a player like Onyedim. His versatility is there, the length is there, but he's listed basically on many scouting reports as a developmental prospect compared to the rest of the top tier interior defenders, right? But like I said, the talent is there, right? He definitely has to get heavier. He's less than 300 pounds and slightly undersized for that role. So getting stronger, working on his technique, and gaining some weight, that's a part of Tyler Onyedim game that the Saints could do. But if you're looking at both of these type of players for the black and gold, it's encouraging because the Saints obviously at this point of the season are filling up the back end of the board. They already know who the top prospects are, even in terms of having guys in the center of the board. Now they're trying to fill out the rest of the big board and see what guys are going to be available for them as they get further down into the draft. So could any of these players be an option for the Saints as they continue to do due diligence and build their draft boards going forward so they can have with the shaping up to be a pretty solid draft? But it'll be interesting to see. The interior defensive tackle is definitely a position that I can see them making a move on later on in the draft. There also the interior, the depth of the offensive line and defensive line. We'll see what's going on. There's some flux there. Brian Brissy coming off an injury. We do have some older veterans like Devon Gacho and Nate Shepard there. We did re-sign John Ridgway to bring back here. Christian Boyd still there. So they do have some players here. Vernon Brockton, he's 100% healthy. We don't know what he's going to bring for the season. Be really interested to see what he does. And then if you flip it over to the backup offensive line, Saints did a wonderful job by getting David Edwards. And ultimately, they still have to address the backup center position. That could be a position that the Saints pick at as early as the 3rd round of the upcoming draft. If they don't bring somebody in through free agency, the pickings are thin. And then, of course, you look at the guard position, having guys like Dylan Raduntz, Helvin Will Sherman. Perhaps the Saints are feeling pretty good about that backup center position. They might feel like Torricelli Simpkins, who we've seen in a limited role when he had an opportunity to play the center position. Perhaps Kelly Moore feels pretty comfortable with Torricelli Simpkins at the backup center position. We'll see how they feel about all this stuff as we get beyond the draft in some weeks from now. It'll be interesting to see how the plan comes together for the black and gold. But speaking of that, that's all I got for you guys on this show. Please feel free to hit the comment section up and let me know how you feel about these guys and the spots the Saints are looking at. Is there a particular draft pick or prospect rather that you guys are interested in? Put it in the chat. Let us know about it here at the Sports Coma. With that being said, shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the show. We appreciate FanDuel for being a sponsor of the show. Get y'all prop bets in at FanDuel. Shout out to our Patreon champions and YouTube membership family for all your continued support. The latest episode of TSC Q&A Live is available. It's an hour and 40-something minutes of the top 50 players in the draft. I break them down on my big board and also have volume 3 of the mock draft as well of just giving game on that. That's available and up for our Patreon champions and YouTube membership family as well. With that being said, check out the links for merch and for the people, if you haven't had an opportunity to subscribe, mash on the subscribe button, man, and subscribe to help out the Coma, man, because we on our push to 15,000 subs, man. We need a couple hundred more to make it there. If you're not a sub, check your sub button, man, and sub up and join the stream, man, and join the movement. So with that being said, man, I'm on out of here. I'm going to holler at you on the next report. Much love, peace, and who that tell you.
Who that tell you?